Hello, everybody out there on YouTube. We are the three middle-aged guys, and we're bullshitting about nothing. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
And this week, to continue on with our Geek Week in Review, we are sitting on September 10th, 2016. That's when this video is being made. Just yesterday, September 9th, 2016, was the 17th anniversary for Sega's fourth and final home console, the Sega Dreamcast.
Yep.
Right here. Actually, you know what? Picking this thing up, this system is a lot more dense than I fucking remember. It's actually fucking heavy for its size. Because the Super Nintendo and the original PlayStation, even the PlayStation 2, that's bigger than this, is not as heavy as this fucking system. But that was Sega's fourth foray into the console market. After the Sega Saturn, which didn't do as well as people hoped, as great as the system was, Sega went out and they released the Dreamcast out. Instead of using outdated custom chips and everything, they used a lot more updated and readily available components to put together the Dreamcast. As you can see on the system, optical drive system. You may not see it right there real quick, but it says Windows CE inside. They actually had the help of Microsoft to go ahead and help them put together the operating system for this particular system, which unfortunately would come back to bite them in the ass in the end. All right. But just like the Nintendo 64, it features 4 ports. This was made for couch multiplayer party games, 4-player games in mind. And it is also the first system that came packed in with a modem. Later on, they would release a broadband adapter, which is expensive as crap to try to find today. And this was one of the first consoles that tried to make going online and gaming online multiplayer a regular occurrence and a regular part of the games that they were putting out. Great system. Unfortunately, it didn't see anywhere near the success that they were hoping it was going to see. The system was actively on the market from 1999, and then I believe in March 2001 was when Sega announced that they were going to discontinue marketing the system. And all in all, it finished up its run only selling around 9.13 million units worldwide. Obviously, I've done my research, and I've got a lot of memories, but before I continue monopolizing everybody's time, I'm going to open the floor up. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts on the Dreamcast?
Gray Mouse remembers me playing this system all the time. And much like the Sega Saturn, this system, well, at least the Japanese version, was basically built and primed for fighting games. Then there was the sports games, the 2K series. They came out in the United States. Awesome series. It was the alternative from games like Madden and NBA Live and stuff like that. Awesome, awesome games.
Well, the silly thing about that, and I'll let you continue on, was that really as far as being the alternative go, EA didn't give them a choice. When Sega was first putting together the system to release out, they asked, okay, who's going to be a license? Who's going to be a third-party license to us? And EA was like, hey, we want to go ahead and put our sports titles on your fucking system because we know that it's running good hardware and everything. But we want to be the only sports titles on your system. And Sega said, fuck you. No.
Mm-hmm. So
EA went ahead and they completely went ahead. They were like, okay, we'll see how you do. And they decided not to bring any of their games to the system.
It's funny because EA was supposed to be with the Panasonic 3DO and 3DO only back in the day. But more about the Dreamcast. Speaking of fighting games for this system, you would have to get one of these. Seriously.
Or an ASCII Dreamcast fight stick.
Right.
Which I do not have. I'm actually surprised that I don't have one.
Now, in Japan, these things matter, and especially this. Now, oh yeah.
Visual memory unit.
Now, besides the Sonic Adventure games and Resident Evil Code Veronica when that first hit the console, the fighting games and Phantasy Star Online, in Japan, you had you had arcade machines, and you had controller slots, and you had memory card slots for Sega Naomi titles. And for certain Dreamcast titles, you can earn points, you can earn experience, whatever, when you took this and put it into the arcade machine. In certain games, you absolutely needed it. For one, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is a great example of it in Japan. In the United States, they basically handed everything to you as far as you just keep playing the game, you'll earn everybody, so on and so forth. With the Japanese Dreamcast, you had to go online and you had to go to the arcade. There were 3 separate point systems. So the Dreamcast was ahead of its time as far as the interaction and the versatility that was out there for arcades and home console. Plus, the games were top notch, and it's very, very disappointing that the Dreamcast didn't go further than it did. I still play mine to this day. Street Fighter 3 Third Strike is one of my favorite fighting games of all time, and I still play that to this day. And I think that it's the best Street Fighter, pretty much. There's the Sonic Adventures, like I mentioned earlier. Capcom fighting games were just ruled on the Dreamcast. But I got more to say, but Gray Mouse, what are your opinions about the Sega Dreamcast?
Well, real quick, I think my opinion is if you want arcade translated, I mean, it was perfect. You know, all the fighting games on the Dreamcast, it was just an perfect arcade translation. The graphics were all there, wasn't missing people in the backgrounds, the music was there. It was just an all-around great system. I mean, I can't add more than what you've already said, Bing, that if you are a fighting game fanatic, you definitely would want to get a Dreamcast. I mean, because like I said, I spent countless hours playing Power Stones, Street Fighters, and just everything.
Power Stone 3, Capcom, please. PS3.
Power Stone 3 for the for what? For the Dreamcast 2?
Don't care. just bring it out. It could be on the NX. I don't care. Rival Schools 3, please.
Yep.
Please. Yeah. This is the Japanese version of Project Justice. Please, Part 3. Damn it. Please. Give us a fucking Rival Schools RPG, something, please.
I think that one of the things about the Dreamcast is that the thing about it is that when it was on the, it was the first entry into the 6th generation console systems, of which you had your PS2, your GameCube, and your original Xbox.
Right.
I think what happened with the Dreamcast was that it was kind of stuck in this really, really weird place where it was ahead of its time, and it took a lot of risks. Sega in general, one of the things that I used to love about Sega was that they took a lot of risks when they were putting stuff out. They were willing to go ahead and do things outside the box. They were willing to go out of their way and say, hey, look, maybe we're not going to do the family-friendly gaming thing for what we're presenting to gamers and our consumers. the most tragic thing about the Dreamcast was that there was when it came out in 1999, it was off the heels of the Sega Saturn, which, while being a great system, really underperformed, not just in America but also in Japan, worldwide. And even following that, people were still reeling from the last few years of Sega trying to go ahead and insist that everybody had to sit there and take part of the Sega CD and the 32X, compounding that. That it was just in a really, really tough spot to go ahead and earn the type of foothold that Sega needed in order to keep on doing what they wanted to do. They said it only sold 9.13 million units worldwide. They asked Microsoft to help them put together the operating system. It does say powered by Windows CE on the front of the thing. And like I said earlier, right at the beginning of this video, that came back to bite them in the ass because, Microsoft announced that they were going to go ahead and go into the game business with the releasing the Xbox. And so if Sega didn't already have the fact that the PS2 was coming down the pike, they knew that Nintendo was inevitably going to be there too. And then on top of that, having Microsoft, which had deeper pockets than Sony and Nintendo combined, it really put them in a raw spot. So what happened is that after the old Sega CEO, after he passed away, the new president and CEO of Sega, he went ahead and discontinued everything in 2001, March 2001. My particular memories about the Dreamcast is that this is the last console that I started buying stuff for while I was up there in Washington State. The moment that the day that they announced that Sega was going to discontinue making Dreamcast consoles, that they were going to discontinue any sort of pursuing any sort of production of new games for the console and everything else, the system dropped from $199 to $99 in less than a week, and that's when I picked it up. Okay. A few months later, this system was going for $49.99 just for them to get rid of all the stock. The one thing that I regret, the thing that I regret the most about that particular time was that all the rest of the games that they had in stock in all of the stores all around were dropping in price left and right, and I didn't take the opportunity to get more games for the system. There are a lot of gems for the system. I mean, if you were into sports titles, and I'm not being into sports titles, but I can recognize that the 2K games were good enough and different enough than all the other sports titles that were offered, especially from EA, that they held their own. There's a reason why people still go after those titles. Arcade fighting games. This particular game, Soul Calibur, looks better on the home console than it does in the arcade. They not only ported it over perfectly, but they revamped everything. Okay? Not only that, but Namco, they add extra modes whenever they bring things home. But better visuals, better sound, better control than the fucking arcade. Just great game all the way around. Dead or Alive 2. This particular title, let's just be honest. The first Dead or Alive was pretty much a knockoff Virtual Fighter with lots of females with big bouncing breasts. Okay, but it wasn't until they decided to go ahead and bring out this particular version, and this is the first one with the tag mode, that it started taking off on its own as a franchise that you could sit there and look forward to go ahead and play. There's a lot of things that Sega went out of their way to do. I mean, just looking at the controller by itself, the stock controller. All right, I know the glare is kind of bad on my thing. But yeah, you see the two freaking slots. You'd either use them for memory cards or
rumble packs.
Pooter pack. Rumble pack. All right. Right there. And if you think about it, if you look at this and you look at, if you put this and a PS2 controller next to each other, if you can imagine these two controllers got too close to each other and they had sex and they had an illegitimate child, that's pretty much the original Xbox controller right there. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of great things about the console, and there's a reason why people still go out of their way to play this particular console and get a hold of the games. You know, a lot of them because of arcade ports, like what the theme is holding up right now. You know, that you can't find anywhere else.
These two in particular, when I first got these two, Vampire Chronicle, which is Darkstalkers Chronicle, and Super Street Fighter II Turbo, which is, they call it Super Street Fighter II X Grandmaster Challenge in Japan, I had to special order these games. These games were not sold in stores in Japan, not even in Japan. You have to order these online, and they have to send these to you.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was crazy, because that's why at the bottom of here it says for matching service. And this, it's the same thing here.
You know, and that was one of the things. That's one of the things that the Dreamcast really pushed was online multiplayer for like arcade games and fighting games, and a lot of you know, even before the Xbox came around to not only generalize it and then perfect it, they were there first. You know, Sega was there first.
They were.
Oh.
And I wish someone was actually listening to me. I wish they would come out with a part 3 of this. Capcom SNK 3. Why the hell not? Okay, I can name a couple of reasons why the hell not. I mean, Marvel's Capcom 3 was messed up and so on, but the Sega Dreamcast, man. And then there was certain groundbreaking titles. I've already mentioned the Sonic Adventures. Sonic Adventure 2, if you've never played that, it was the last great Sonic, in my opinion. The original Crazy Taxi.
Great game.
Virtual Tennis.
Great game. I'm not even in sports games, but that's a great game.
Freaking you. And then there was Shenmue. Shenmue was one of those groundbreaking titles that really impressed me, because not only the detail, but the story, and it was the way. Yes, the game demanded your hardcore patience, but the way the game was structured, especially when it went through certain dates throughout the year, it used the weather from those days back then. They actually got the weather data and included that in the game. Depending on what you did, the game changed, or certain things happened more, or Christmas time when you go to the game, they're playing Christmas music in the background, and you see Christmas decorations and stuff like that. And like I said, the story, that was the very first game that I can remember that not once did I complain about the camera angle for a fucking 3D game.
Yep.
And that's saying something, you know. I could go on and on and on about this damn system, and I just think that it's sad that it was short-lived and it was underappreciated until years later.
Yep. I think it really kind of strikes a chord with a lot of people who everybody loves an underdog. Okay. And there was no doubt at the time that Sega was an underdog company when it came to their position in the video game industry. And they went ahead and they put their best effort out as far as making a console that had multiple capabilities as far as going out and actually expanding your general gameplay experience. And there were a lot of third-party publishers who were online who were supporting it. Capcom, definitely one of them. One of my favorite Dreamcast games that I don't even I don't mind playing even today is the original UFC game for Dreamcast.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely that.
Yeah, this is made by Crave, and yeah, there are certain parts to it that are broken. But the one thing that I like about it is that they're every particular fighter in here is a completely individual fighter. You know, there's nobody plays the same on it. You know, granted, there are certain things that don't hold up all that well now, but it's just things that are out there that they were able to go out of their way. They gave Crave a platform to even try putting together an MMA fighting game. You know, before I go on, Gray Mouse, do you have anything else to go ahead and shoot on to that? You know, I mean, the funny thing about the Dreamcast is that I think other than what I have here, you know, RPGs, Skies of Arcadia for the Dreamcast, effing phenomenal. Yeah, this particular one right here, this was actually one of the last games that I picked up for the Dreamcast, and it was one of the ones that had actually dropped down. I think when I picked it up, it had dropped down to like $20 or something like that when I picked it up. Try finding a complete version of this online. You're going to pay a lot more than that. But yeah, great fucking game. A lot of character as far as all the individual characters. Different type of setting and system as far as JRPGs go. Ship-to-ship battles, airship traveling, and everything else. Great effing game. And as far as Sega themselves, they put out a lot of really great titles. Here are two of them right here that are freaking classics. I mean,
yes.
if you're talking about games that sit there and emphasize soundtracks and ambience and art direction, Space Channel 5 and Jet Grind Radio, or Jet Set Radio if you're in Japan, are two of the games that are really outside of the box, really quirky, definitely not Americanized games, but they have their own identity that holds, you know, true even today. A lot of people will sit there and they'll see, hey, look, that's Lala from Space Channel 5. You know, everybody, you know, I don't know anybody who can sit there and listen or actually play Jet Grind Radio and not find themselves either tapping their foot or bobbing their head to the beat of one of the songs on here. In fact, I use humming the bass line from this fucking soundtrack for my closing credits. You know, great fucking game. Great game. And that's probably one of the most tragic things about the Dreamcast is that it fell away really quick. It fell under a lot of competition. And it, unfortunately, a lot of the failures of the Dreamcast, if you look back on the history of Sega as it is, a lot of the shortcomings for the system came internally. I mean, people love the system so much that they even did like independent releases all the way up until just recently.
Yeah.
This right here is Pure Solar from Watermelon Games. This is the Dreamcast version of it. I ordered this up, and it was like a year-long waiting list to go ahead and actually get this. This is still in the seal. The reason why is that I'm playing the Steam version of this that's on PC. I don't know if I'm ever going to open this thing. You know, Maybe one day if I need funds, I can go ahead and put it on eBay. But a lot of love. There's Ghostblade. There's a lot of other indie homebrew games that are put on it, and it just kind of goes to show that, you know, the lasting power of a good console, from at one time a great first party publisher, how that can sit there and leave a lasting impression on gamers. You know, I think that's something that all of us can go ahead and agree on, that if we find ourselves a system that we game on a lot, it's going to hold a place in our hearts, and it's going to be something that we're going to remember. It doesn't matter if it's from Sega, Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft. It's just something that we go ahead and we flock to and that we remember. And that's the reason why $99.99 will definitely go ahead. It'll be something I'll remember for, you know, probably until the day I die. Even 17 years now later, it's September. Actually, it's the 11th now, 2016. I'll definitely celebrate the fact that the Sega Dreamcast came out. Granted, it wasn't anywhere near as successful as you know I would have hoped it would have been, or I would have liked to have seen it do, but definitely made a mark in gaming. You know. Any other thoughts, gentlemen?
Ray Mouse, we've been taking all the time here. Apologies for that. Any thoughts?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Dreamcast is great. I remember getting it overseas as well. One couple games that y'all forgot about: Fighting Vipers.
Great.
Fighting Vipers 2, yeah.
Fighting Vipers 2. Love the SNK versus Capcom, or Capcom versus SNK.
Yep.
DOA 2. I think that's really when the series started to take off.
Yep.
It's funny because there were two different versions of that game on the Dreamcast itself.
Really?
Yes. Well, if you play the Japanese version, it's a little different than the American version.
Yeah.
I have both of them. And the Japanese Dreamcast version is the one that came out last. Because remember, the PlayStation 2 had two different versions as well.
Yeah, DOA.
The Dreamcast it's funny because DOA 2, the Dreamcast version came out first for the American. Then the Japanese version for the Dreamcast came out last.
DOA 2 Hardcore was what came out on PS2.
For the PS2. Yeah. Because there was DOA 2 and then there was DOA 2 Hardcore. But then the Dreamcast version for Japan came out after that.
And another fighting game that we forgot to mention is Guilty Gear.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's just a damn shame, you know, because when people talk about quality and most of today's gamers are like, look at the graphics. And the Dreamcast had everything going for it. Great graphics, sound, gameplay, control for a lot of their games. Even load times were short, well, depending on the damn game.
Yeah.
People were blown away when Resident Evil Code Veronica was on that system.
Yep.
Well, I think a lot of people got discouraged about the Dreamcast simply because it was more, I mean, like we said at the beginning of the video, it was more of a fighting game console. I mean, just look at all the fighting games that the console had on it. But I mean, it is a damn shame. Dreamcast is such a great system.
I mean, the one thing that I think anybody can go ahead and recognize with the Dreamcast, as tragic as it may be, regardless of if they're a Sega fan or if they're not, is that this is what happens when you're trying to regain the footing in the video game industry and you've lost the faith and the trust of the gamers at large. You know, because trying to beat back the after effects not just the Sega Saturn, but also the Sega CD and the 32X before it, there was over 5 years of misgivings that Sega had to sit there and try to undo. And unfortunately, I guess that would work out if you're only dealing with one other competitor, but they had 2 other competitors that were on the block that were also there, that had popped up and had very, very deep pockets. And let's just be honest, Sega has never, ever been really good at marketing, other than the first few years when they were running around doing the whole Genesis does with Nintendo.
Well, I think one thing too is like you said, at the time of the release of the Dreamcast, Xbox already had a huge foothold on the market with their killer app with Halo. Because I don't care what people say, Halo sold the Xbox, man. Yeah,
but the Sega had decided to go ahead and discontinue the Dreamcast even before the Microsoft Xbox was released.
Exactly.
Yeah, they knew the weight of what was coming down the pike.
The funniest thing about me getting a Dreamcast is I got it at the end of '98 because my system is Japanese, and I believe it came out at the end of November in 1998, and I got my Dreamcast in December of 1998 because I bought Virtua Fighter 3 Team Battle with it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And even though that's the slowest Virtua Fighter, it was still... Say again?
No, I'm saying Sega Dreamcast was released in Japan in November 27th, 88.
Yep.
Yeah, 98.
Yep.
And I had mine in December of 98 because I was thoroughly interested in what they were going to be coming out with because of what the Saturn did. And the Saturn was a great system to me.
Yep.
The best-selling game for the system was Sonic Adventure.
Yep.
For the United States, oh hell yeah! As soon as people saw that demo, a 3D Sonic that was done right.
Yep. It had its issues. It wasn't perfect, but it was.
Oh yeah.
It's just some.
Well, it was better than Sonic changing into werewolves and dating human girls.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Damn it, Dreamcast.
Yeah,
it still has, and that has the best version of Third Strike, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. I don't care what anybody says. The Xbox version, no. The PlayStation 2 version, no. The online versions, no. The Dreamcast version of Third Strike is the best one, hands down.
There's a reason why people still bring their Dreamcast to EVO. Yeah, because they have side tournaments for Third Strike all the fucking time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yep. With that, I think, I know we were all waiting for this, gentlemen.
Hang on, let me pour mine.
Wait, what? Really? What?
Because I snuck one.
Or you spilled it.
I don't do alcohol abuse here, buddy.
Yeah, for your information, people, alcohol abuse is when you spill your drink. Alcohol overindulgence is drinking too much.
Alrighty, gentlemen. To the Dreamcast, thank you for 17 years of memories.
Still building memories.
Yeah, even though the run was short, heck, I recognize it for what it is. Great run at that. Cheers.
And for any of you wondering what that was, some of that.
We're not sponsored by him, but damn it,
Oh yeah, that.
Yep. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take our alcoholic asses to doing more shots on our own off camera. Thank you very much, everybody, for spending the last 35 minutes with us. If you're so kind, leave us a comment below. Hit like, hit subscribe. Like I said, with the comments, every comment is the start of a brand new conversation. And with every good conversation, doesn't matter if you disagree or agree, you know, as long as what we say actually makes you stop and think about what we're saying, dude, that's what these videos are good for. We are the three middle-aged guys just bullshitting about nothing. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
Gray Mouse 1.
Once again, for the benefits of common sense, logic, and Dreamcast. And gaming. Dreamcast was a big part of my freaking life, especially when I was in the Navy. Oh my God. Gray Mouse, yeah, how much money did I take from people playing those fighting games, challenging me taking their money? It was just, oh Lord. I think I have to go to an ATM for a while when we were going places. Seriously, people were paying for hotel rooms and souvenirs. I didn't have to go to the ATM. Shit. Oh, Dreamcast. Yeah. Next time we are in the same place, we gotta play some Dreamcast and play some Third Strike and play all that shit. We have to. Just because. One of the best systems ever that didn't get the credit that it deserved. Credits.
Dreamcast is going to take you for a ride.